why add more snow? I mean, human life is not, each individual is unique, but it's not rare. I've made this argument before. But what makes something precious is it being rare. Shakespeare was rare. That's what made him precious and valuable. I mean, if everybody was Shakespeare, then Shakespeare would be nothing. So, I mean, human beings are not rare. Their individuality is not rare. We have enough of it. I mean, billion, it's a big fucking number. It's just stupid to allow it to get out of control because we couldn't even talk about it, because we couldn't even say the words. Wait a minute, pause, slow down. Oh, no, we can do that. We can say those words. Not a good idea. We can say that.
Yeah, sorry, I was just reading some of Rami's comments, and it's hard to talk and read comments at the same time. I wasn't sure if he was disagreeing with me or with other people who are posting, but
well, I suggested my idea. I think we could push things like the idea of having what I call the voucher thing that everybody just ridicules. But I mean, there's some kind of mechanism where we could encourage or reward people for choosing alternative ways to live life than having a bunch of kids as a Social Security policy. And like I said, even the whole idea of people having kids for that reason is so sick that we probably should be giving people a lot of psychiatric treatment. Maybe we should be, going around the world giving people that. That should be maybe the missionaries should be psychiatrists, because if people are having kids as a Social Security contract, they got one fucked up brain.
Right, and in the way of implementing these ideas, Gary, you have to go through leadership. And right now, that would be the political death knell of any politician to mention some type of voucher or any other scheme like that.
Yeah, not unless he had something else to go with it. I mean, politicians can get away with something if they have some other, circumstance, that makes them viable. I remember Richard Lamb actually brought up the subject of the right to die years ago, and he was actually politically viable for quite a while, before he got shut up and killed. But, it happens now and then. Once in a while, a mayor or a governor will talk about drug legalization, and they'll get away with it for a little while. So it can happen. But yeah, it's not going to be an easy argument, because there is this knee-jerk overreaction that somehow you're destroying some vital right that people have to basically shit in their living room or something, or shit in yours. That's what it comes down to. I mean, we can't eat the planet. We can't. So there's got to be a point where we say, yeah, it's just too stupid. It is too stupid to pull timbers out of the bridge to build our houses and then expect to be able to use the bridge.
okay, so here's what I think is the bottom line. And while you were talking, Gary, I was looking at these comments, and there's a lot of hostility, which I'm used to. I mean, as soon as you broach this topic, I mean, people just go absolutely apeshit. No pun intended. And I can't even talk about this with members of my own family. I mean, I had an old book from the 70s by Paul Ehrlich, and I was talking about it with my grandfather, who's getting up there in years. And I said, well, I was trying to introduce him to the idea of overpopulation, and he like a lot of the people who are commenting here, his reflexive, instinctive response of, well, why don't you just kill yourself? And I know that's typically the response that you get, Gary, whenever you broach this topic. But here's what I think is the bottom line. There's two ways we can deal with this, right? Either human beings can deal with this rationally and logically, or nature can do it. And if nature does it, she's going to be a fucking bitch about it. She's going to be incredibly cruel and horrific, even more so than the imbecile that you see around us now. I mean, she's she's going to be
Yeah, I
nasty.
mean,
And
it's going to be 3 billion people kind of genocide that nature
exactly.
can that whiplash us with. And so that's going to be our choice. We can either, die by the hand of the retard, sloppy and messy, or we can do something graceful with our intelligence and mitigate the pain and create a graceful slide down the hill to more rational pastures. you know. But yeah, that's another movie you should probably go see, Remy. If there's an old movie you haven't seen, is Dr. Ehrlich's Magic Bullet. It's a good movie. Edward G. Robinson. It's a good old movie.
You know, another fact of the matter is that more than 50% of the world is either Christian or Muslim, and the Bible says, "Be fruitful and multiply," and that the makings of a baby is a miracle and beautiful. So, and that is the voting constituency. So, how are you going to go against that?
Yeah, and like I said, if it isn't the religious, then it's the pantheist kind of perception of this fertile Mother Earth kind of bullshit. And people just don't take any responsibility for the logical consequences. And they just keep pretending that, oh, well, but capitalism will solve the problem. Or, we'll come up with some better fuel source or some other miracle will show up just in time. And it's always this something will happen just in time kind of crap. It didn't work back in the Black Plague days. It didn't work back in the days when cholera could wipe out 20% of your population. So what is this? It's a daydream. We could face real hard ass wreckage here, and for no better reason than because we're stupid. I mean, that's just a dumb reason. We are not allowed to be stupid anymore because we don't have to be.
Yeah, Rami, again, I'm reading your comments, and you say, okay, we get it, overpopulation is the problem, but there's nothing to be done about it. And so you're implying a couple things in that sentence. One, that I'm harping on this for too long, and well, second, there's nothing to be done about it. I mean, if human beings aren't capable of not even fine-tuning, coarse-tuning the mechanism, I mean, who is? Who are we going to... I mean, that sounds pretty fatalistic. You're saying there's nothing to be done about it. Okay, so what... I just want to be clear. What is it that you're proposing? If you're saying there's nothing to be done about it, are you saying we just let chaos reign and let nature and the out-of-control DNA molecule run its course? Maybe you could respond to that before I say anything more.
We're supposed to just go out like the Tyrannosaurus or something. There's no logic. They'd give all the kids guns, I guess is his plan. But I just don't see why we can't even... Why is even the effort of making the argument somehow a waste? I mean, it doesn't take that much energy to make at least the argument. And to sit there and poop on the argument just doesn't seem there. What's the point of pooping on the argument? At least it's something. We might try to persuade the world to view life in a broader and larger perspective. What's the big crime there? I mean, if I had the money and I spent my money to write a bunch of pamphlets to drop on the Congo that just briefly explain to people, well, you're basically living in one of the most biologically active areas on planet Earth, and it's essentially like living next to a volcano. And it's just very impractical, and you'd do the whole human race a big favor if we could just, move you, a few hundred miles south or west or some other direction to get you the hell out of this shithole. Because guess what? It's really expensive to take care of human beings next to volcanoes.
Right. I'm not poo-pooing the idea. Of course, I say go for it. And you're not hamstrung by being entrenched and being beholden to a constituency. You need some followers, Gary.
well, I just helpers, allies, people marching in the same direction thing. I need organization, and that's really hard to do. But yeah, whatever. It's not even me. Like I said, I wish there was somebody else who was more eloquent than that I could follow. You know, that I could point to and say, well, look, that guy's got it right. Let's just do what he says. I mean, I wish there was somebody doing that.
Yeah, that would be nice, but I think, we've got ultimately and intellectually, we're the only ones who can be responsible for this mess that the planet Earth is in right now.
That's one of the paradoxes. Is there's lots of people that understand that part of it. That piece of the argument they understand. Yes, the Earth is in trouble. We're hurting it. They get that part. But what they don't get is you can't get any agreement on which road you take to get out of the mess. Which road is the repair road, or however to describe it. Whatever the solutions, they can't agree on a single fucking solution, and that part's just so amazing.
Yeah, it's like you said in a video a couple videos back. I don't know if it was your depressed video or which one it was, but you said, we can't even get the intelligent people to agree on this. And if we can't even get the intelligent people to agree on this, how? I'm not trying to sound elitist here. I'm not trying to put anybody down, but let's face it. Some of us have, greater cognitive and rational capacity than others. Some of us have greater mental capacity than others. And if we can't even, and there's a number of them here in this chat room tonight, and if we can't even get those people to agree, I mean, we're not even close to agreement here. I mean, look at some of these comments. I mean, people are going off the hook at the idea of any kind of, moderation or governance over population growth. So, yeah, it is. It's daunting to say the least.
Well, Remy, the problem with your theory that you just give people a little bit of civilization and everything will be fine is to give them their piece of civilization, you're going to have to take it away from some other place. And that's how it's going to work in the practical world. And in the practical world, we're going to be on the losing end pretty soon. China is going to be the place where the oil is going to go to. They're going to be able to pay the money for it. They're going to have the money. And so then the United States gets poor. The poor people in the United States have too many kids. That poverty is about what makes kids. And there's going to be plenty of poverty in the future. We're heading for a big pile of poverty. And so population isn't going to start retracting. It's not going to stay on this trend line down. It's going to start going up again. Because people are going to get damn fucking poor.
Yeah, I don't think people realize just how nasty and brutish nature can be by virtue of the fact that we and our parents generation and our parents' generation have lived through the 20th century, this time of tremendous industrial dynamism and technological growth and the extraction of oil to fuel our economy. I mean, we've come to expect.
Look, the more important thing is the context we have to understand is that we have spent most of our evolution in the context of living to be 45 years old and having 15 kids, 10 of which never get to the age of 5, and some other 80% of which never reach reproductive age. So I mean, that's how we're designed. We're designed for this kind of cruel nature that's going to kill most of our kids, going to kill maybe 1 or 2 of our wives and that whole smear. I mean, that's the reality. And that world, we don't live in that world anymore, and so we have to adapt our behavior. We can't keep pretending that we can do whatever the fuck we want, because no, our biology does not match our reality of our circumstance anymore. The world we've created is different than that world, so we have to behave differently. How can an intelligent person not